Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at XL Hawlucha in the Open Ultra League. Of course, I don't have one, it does not spawn in my region, I at least got one traded before for the Great League. But let's take a look at some gameplay that got sent to me with Hawlucha XL variant here buffed with the Aerial Ace, which now needs less energy this season, which is kind of nice for this Pokemon. So let's take a look on how this Pokemon is going to play in the Open Ultra League. I honestly have not seen anywhere any gameplay for this Pokemon for the Ultra League, so might be the first on YouTube, who knows. But we will see here a team with Virizions in the back as a say-swap here, I guess, which does make some kind of sense as we are getting hard countered kind of by the opponent's Dragonite. But closer of the Hawlucha going to be very interesting, as Hawlucha has access to one of the best, if not the best, charge moves in the game with the Flying Press. Flying Press is so strong. I think it's like 90 damage for 40 energy or something without any drawback. It's absolutely wild. So we will see definitely some very nice sweeps with this Pokemon most likely. As you're going to see here, the Trailblaze coming through. Gonna get the shield from the opponent. Now it's down to the Hawlucha. You can go for, either of the moves. Both of them are 40 energy, so it does not really matter what you're gonna go for. Of course, Flying Press usually is going to do the better move to go for. Here we're going to see the Aerial Ace coming through. Gonna get the shield, and now you're gonna try to most likely use another shield. Maybe try to farm them all the way down. Let's take a look at this. We will see that you still have to go for a charge move here. The opponent decides to swap out into their Tapu Fini, and I'm not sure if actually Flying Press is doing more damage than Aerial Ace, even though it's resisted. It could definitely be the case, but the first battle here is looking like a loss. I think the surf is... Oh, it's not going to knock you out, but still not going to really look too nice for you either. As you're going to see here, the Flying Press is coming through here. It doesn't knock them out, and we will see that they're going to be able to win this game. Good game there. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to encounter a Greninja in the lead. That's going to be a great one for you because the entire team is going to be great against this Pokemon. Unlike the Giratina. Giratina is going to be a problem for your backline. At least you're going to have still Brutal Swing on your Ampharos here, which is going to do a lot of damage. And it's great that you're going to have this Pokemon in this matchup, especially as you can still align your Virizion later on against the Greninja. So it's going to be fine for you. You're going to get a shield here as well, which is cool. You're not going to use a shield on your own though, which is interesting. You might still be able... No, you're not going to be able to reach another one, so you're going to swap out into your Hawlucha, hoping that one Aerial Ace is all it's going to take to knock them out. I'm fairly certain one Aerial Ace is not enough yet, and I think they know this as well. That's why they overfarm, as they're going to let all the moves go through here. We're going to see now the Aerial Ace coming through. I think it still does not do enough damage to knock them out. Let's see here. It does not, and the opponent can still go for a charge move, forcing you to use a shield here. Giratina, definitely an issue for this team, but you can farm them all the way down, as the opponent going to decide to swap into that Toxic Rogue now after swapping first into the Greninja. Great play by them, but you can still reach the Aerial Ace in time, which is going to get most likely the knockout here. Let's see, it does, and they tried to go all in for Greninja, but it didn't work out for them at all. So, moving on, next game, let's see what they're going to run here. They're going to run a Deoxys in the lead. This is going to be amazing for you, as you're going to have access to Brutal Swing here, as well as your backline is pretty weak against this Pokemon, but them going for a Psycho Boost kind of tells me that they're going to swap out very soon, and they decide to swap out perfectly onto the Greedent. I feel like here's a better play to not go into the Hawlucha and go into your Virizion, but you're still gonna go into the Hawlucha because I guess you kind of want to showcase this Pokemon. You would have been able to just go for a Sacred Sword, most likely farm him down afterwards with the Virizion, which would have been a little bit better for you. But here we're going to see now Flying Press going to get the knockout, clean sweep there, and we're going to see another Flying Press coming through. And now I kind of want to know, is Flying Press actually still the better move to go for compared to Aerial Ace if the Flying Press is resisted? I'm going to check it real quick on the site because I'm really curious about this now, because I know it was the case prior, but now where Aerial Ace needs less energy, it might be a little bit different. But let's take a look here real quick. They're going to have the Shadow Steelix in the back, which is kind of nice for you. And we will see, of course, the debuff coming through, that you can still go just for the Sacred Sword. Rather go fast for the Sacred Sword than later, but we will see actually that they do exactly the same amount of damage against Deoxys. So, I guess it's better to go for Flying Press then. Both have the same amount of energy, both do the exact same amount of damage against the Deoxys defense. So that's kind of an interesting one here. We're going to encounter, again, the Steelix going for the Sacred Sword here against this Pokemon. Shadow Steelix should take still some decent damage of it, even though you're debuffed. And you're going to let this next move go through as well, which is kind of wild, as you kind of try to rely on your, onto your Ampharos. You can still go for the Brutal Swing against the opponent's Deoxys is gonna get the knockout there, and you're gonna go straight for another Brutal Swing afterwards, but I fear that this is not going to do enough damage. It's going to be such a close one. Can you still win this game? You can actually win this game. That's great. Let's move on to the next game here. we will encounter Charizard in the lead. This is going to be amazing for you, as you're going to, of course, have the best answer for this in the lead, but they're going to swap into their Giratina again, which is going to be very bad for you, because you don't really want to encounter this Pokemon at all with your Ampharos. Yeah, Ampharos is going to let this next move go through. Going to be, of course, the Dragon Claw coming in, but you can still go for another Brutal Swing, which they're going to decide to shield up again. So you kind of want to keep this Pokemon around. I guess you will want to use a shield here as well to get the final shield from the opponent, and yes, you're going to keep your Ampharos around for the Charizard later on, which I guess is the way to go. We will see the Ancient Power coming through. This is still a fighting type, so it doesn't really do as much damage, and again, against Charizard, I guess they do basically the exact same amount of damage, Aerial Ace, as well as, of course, the Flying Press. We're going to see here real quick that the opponent is going to go ahead and go for the Dragon Claw against you. This is going to get the knockout, but you can still swap out into your Ampharos, and I guess you're going to be forced to use a shield here as well, because the opponent is still going to have that Giratina in the back, and you're going to go up for 2 Brutal Swings. The opponent decides to swap out into their own Virizion, and that's going to be a little bit of a trickier one. You will really need basically the Hawlucha for Virizion. Like, Hawlucha is basically one of the best answers for Virizion, because all moves are going to be resisted, your fast move is going to be super effective, and your charge move of Aerial Ace is going to be double super effective. So, would love to see some Virizion say subs against you though, but here we're going to have a little bit of a trickier time for you to still win this game. We're going to see the Dragon Claws coming through. Leaf Blade is going to do more damage than the Sacred Sword, and we will see a not knockout here, but you can still basically reach another Sacred Sword there. Like, I don't know if there's a possible way for you to win this game. I don't think there is, but we will see the Sacred Sword coming through now. You basically have to hope that you can still reach another Sacred Sword in time, which you do actually. Do you win CMP against them? I think you have a Brutal Swing stored. I don't know. I think Brutal Swing is actually enough. Honestly, I did not expect to see a win here. Let's see. It's actually going to still be enough, and you can still take this game home. Let's move on to the next game. This was absolutely wild. This is a Pokemon that I want to see against Hawlucha, but now Hawlucha is going to go up against it, but you're gonna get out the Walrein. This Flying Press is going to do massive amounts of damage. Look at this. It's going to get shielded, but you're going to hit one eventually. You're just going to use a shield here as well. You will want to hit this Flying Press against the opponent. You should be able to outspeed them as well here, because you had some prior energy. And we will see the Flying Press is going to get shielded again. It's not going to really matter, because they're just going to try to avoid the inevitable, as we're going to now see the Flying Press is coming through perfect on the CMP tie, and this is going to do a massive amount of damage. Gonna get the knockout against the Walrein here, as well as you're going to still have some extra energy, which will allow you to reach the Aerial Ace in time. This is going to do some decent damage against the opponent as well, kind of weakening them for most likely the Ampharos, but it's still going to be a trickier matchup here, because you still have to deal with the Virizion in the back, and Virizion is still going to look very solid against your team, but you can still at least align your Ampharos against the opponent's Jellicent. You have to take a Shadow Ball, but the opponent decides to swap out now into the Virizion. They have a little bit of damage onto them, but the Leaf Blade is basically going to knock you out there, as you're going to be able to swap out into your own one, go for the Sacred Sword against them. This is gonna do some decent amount of damage, but not enough. You kind of have to hope that you can maybe farm them down after the next one, which would allow you then also to get to your Leaf Blade against the opponent's Jellicent. They're gonna go for the next charge move here. This is going to be another Sacred Sword, and it's going to be really close. Like, I don't know who's going to win here. You have to hope that you can farm down. It looks like farm down range. The opponent decides to swap out, and they can still go for a charge move. This is looking bad for you. It's going to be the server. You can still survive it. You can go still for the Leaf Blade here. This is gonna get the knockout against the opponent. Can you still farm down the opponent's Virizion? They decide to forfeit there. Great game there. Well, let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to encounter the Dragonite now in the lead, which is going to be interesting for you. The opponent decided to swap out into their Cobalion, and again, it would have been definitely the better play here to go into your Virizion over the Hawlucha, but it's still going to be fine. You're going to be able to get the shield from the opponent already, as they are going to go ahead and go for the Stone Edge, which is going to do some decent damage, and this would be something that, for example, they cannot do against the opponent, like against the Virizion. Of course, I could go for the Sacred Sword, but still, you're going to have the super effective fast move there, while here your fast move is double resisted. So it's a little bit tricky, but you're still going to be able to use a shield here and maybe realign. Okay, you're going to let this move go through, go into your Ampharos, get more energy, and let's see what's coming back in here. We're gonna have a shield advantage at least. It's going to be the Aurorus, which is pretty bad, especially as you would have had the Trailblaze here. But you're gonna swap out into the Virizion, gonna get out the Dragonite, but honestly, Dragonite can only take that many moves. Like, it's going to still go down eventually, so it's not looking too bad for you. You're going to decide to let this move go through. Maybe you try to go for the Trailblaze play, basically, as we will see another Dragon Claw coming through. I would have usually shielded this move up, but you know that you can still survive it, which is huge for you. So you basically try to rely on your Ampharos, which I definitely see here, as you can go for the Trailblaze, and there's no real harm for you here. This is going to get the knockout if they let this move go through. It actually doesn't get the knockout, but you would be able to farm him down. We can move on into the next game. Let's see who's next. We're going to have here the Alolan Sandslash against you. You're going to be able to stay in here for a little bit, as you can go for some swap. Okay, you can just swap into your Hawlucha, I guess, which is gonna take the Ice Punch, and you can still reach the Flying Press and not in time. So it's a little bit of an awkward one. We will see the Ice Punch coming through, and the opponent decides to swap out into the Golisopod. At least you still have some super effective damage here with your Aerial Ace. Aerial is definitely going to be better here compared to the Flying Press, as Flying Press is also resisted. So we will see the Aerial Ace coming through and gonna get both shields from the opponent, which is amazing for you. But sadly, they're going to have a ton of energy now, and you're going to decide to swap out into your Ampharos. They go for the Liquidation. You're going to use a shield, as you can go for the Trailblaze, which is going to do some massive damage and also buffs your own attack. As we will see here, you're going to let this next move go through because you don't have shields anyway. It's going to be another Liquidation, and you can farm them all the way down, as the opponent has a Hitmontop in the back. This is going to be a trickier one because Hitmontop has access to the move Triple XL, which is now super effective, plus going to buff their attack, as you can at least still go for some what's called Leaf Blade here against them, which is going to be nice. It's going to be a two-shot, as the opponent decides to swap out into the Sandslash. You predict this by going for the Sacred Sword, which is going to be amazing for you, but it's still not over because you still have to deal with the opponent's Hitmontop here. They go for another Triple X. Can you still reach the Trailblaze in time? You cannot, and this is going to be a good game there. Let's move on to the next game. We're going to encounter another Dragonite in the lead. That's going to be awkward for you again, especially for your backline, but at least you're going to be able to align your Ampharos here against them. This is going to be okay, as you can still reach those two, Riddle Springs fairly fast, which you should also outspeed the opponent with and get a shield advantage here. But now you kind of want to swap out maybe even into... Okay, you're going to swap out into your Hawlucha, trying to go for the farm down play, which I guess I like. It's, I guess, a smart play. As you let this move go through, Hawlucha actually has a little bit of bulk to it, and you can go for the Flying Press here, which is going to get the knockout against the opponent. Let's see what's coming in back next, which is going to be here actually the Golisopod again. You can go for the Aerial Ace. It's going to do around like 50% of the opponent's health, and you're going to get them fairly low, and it's actually going to be a CMP type, which is even better for you. You now know that they have excellent, so you can actually, okay, you can also even go ahead and decide to go into your other Pokemon, to the Virizion. But here you're just going to let your Ampharos go down, and you're still going to have your Virizion in the back, which is going to hardwall the opponent. Move on into the next game, might be even the final game. I think there are most likely 2 games left. Let's take a look at this one here. We're going to encounter a Nidoqueen against you. This is going to be a hard wall for you, so definitely not what you want to face here. We're gonna get out now the Poison Fang from the opponent, because they're usually running Earth Power, which does not hit you, so at least you're going to be able to do some decent damage against them with another Flying Press here. But this is exactly not the matchup that you don't want to face there. It's going to be a really tough one for your entire team, to be fair. And now what are you gonna do? You're gonna try to go for the Volt Switch down against the ground type Pokemon. This is going to be a tough one, as they're gonna go for the Poison Fang bait as well. Not really ideal. You're forced to go for another charge move, but you decide to swap out onto your Virizion, going to catch the Earth Power. Great play here. But getting basically a hard wall here again by the Ninetales. A wrong play here for sure to go for the Sacred Sword, by the way. Leaf Blade is doing more damage. Both of them are neutral, as well as he should have went for one extra fast move in the one prior this, because he would have been able to bait a potential Stone Edge. So a few mistakes here, definitely something to improve on, but go for Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade would have put them into range as well, where you could have most likely farmed them down at this point of time. But you're forced to use another shield here. You can try to go for the full farm down, or you're actually going to go for the charge move here as well. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one anyway for you to win. They decide to use a shield, and then you decide to forfeit this game. Moving on to the next game, this is going to be a decent lead for you, as you're going to have the Skeledirge against you, which is something that is fairly decent. They're going to go straight for the charge move, which you might want to shield up. It could be the Shadow Ball, but it's just a disarming voice. But now you can go for the Brutal Swing spam, as Brutal Swing is going to be super effective against the opponent. They know about this, so they decide to use a shield as well. You should be able to win this in the 2-shield scenario, as far as I know, so you should be in a decent spot here. As the opponent goes for the next charge move, you can actually let this move go through. It's going to be the disarming voice. Again, great predict effect here, as this is now going to get the knockout against the opponent most likely, and now you have a shield as well, switch advantage, which is going to be huge, as you're going to have the Golisopod in the back, where you can now swap out into your Hawlucha, which has super effective coverage with the Aerial Ace, and also the opponent has Aerial Ace, so we're going to have 2 times Aerial Ace against each other here, which is of course still better for you to have it on this one than on the Virizion. But you can decide to use a shield here and farm them all the way down, but you decide to just go for the Virizion play, which I guess works out as well, as they're especially going to have the Tapu Fini in the back. This should be already a very good game, because the opponent gonna get 2-shotted here. The opponent's Golisopod still does not really have anything to deal with it. Even if this is a Moonblast, which it isn't, you would be still fine and the opponent decides to forfeit. So that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.